जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 11. Etad nirvidyamananam ichchitam akuto bhayam yoginam nrupanirnitam harirnamanukirtanam. एतद् निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छिताम् अकुतो भयम् योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतम् हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्. एतद् निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छिताम् अकुतो भयम् योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतम् हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्. एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छिताम् अकुतो भयम् एतत् निर्विद्यमानानाम् एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छतामकुतो भयम् योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतम् हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम् एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छितामकुतो भयम् योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतम् हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम् एतन्निर्विद्यमानानाम् इच्छताम् अकुतो भयम् योगिनां नृपनिर्णीतम् हरेर्नामानुकीर्तनम्. Word to word meaning. Etat, it is. Nirvidyamananam, of those who are completely free from all material desires. Ichchatam, of those who are desirous of all sort of material enjoyment. Akuta bhayam, free from all doubts and fear. Yoginam, of all who are self-realized. Nripa, O king. Nirnitam, decided truth. Hare, of the Lord Sri Krishna. Nama, holy name. Anu, after someone. Always. Kirtanam, chanting. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki translation. O king, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-realized, self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. Purport. In the previous verse, the great necessity for attaining attachment to the Mukunda has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and thus are aloof from such an illusory way of life. More or less, they are satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord, who neither aspire to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord, Sri Krishna. In other words, the devotees of the Lord do not want anything on their personal account. If the Lord desires, the devotee can accept all sorts of material facilities, and if the Lord does not desire this, the devotee can leave aside all sorts of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. Nor are they self-satisfied, because they want the satisfaction of the Lord only. In this verse, Sri Sukadeva Goswami recommends that the transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord, by offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Lord, one become acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord, and then with the attributes of the Lord, and then with the transcendental nature of His pastimes, etc. Here it is mentioned that one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord after hearing it from authorities. This means that hearing from the authorities is the first essential. Hearing of the holy name gradually promotes one to the stage of hearing about his form, about his attributes, his pastimes, and so on. And thus the necessity of the chanting of his holy his glories develop successively. This process is recommended not only for the successful execution of devotional service, but also even for those who are materially attached. According to Sri Sukdev Goswami, this way of attaining success is an established fact, concluded not only by him but also by all other previous acharyas. Therefore, there is no need of further evidence. The process is recommended not only for the progressive students in different departments of ideological success, but also for those who are already successful in their achievement as fruity workers, as philosophers, or as devotees of the Lord. Sri Jiva Goswami instructs that chanting of the holy name of the Lord should be loudly done, and it should be performed offenselessly as well, as recommended in Padma Puran. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself unto the Lord. One can deliver himself from all offenses at the feet of Lord by taking shelter of his holy name. But one cannot protect himself if one commits an offense at the feet of the holy name of the Lord. Such offenses are mentioned in the Padma Puran as being 10 in number. The first offense is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. The second offense is to see the holy name of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. The Lord is the proprietor of all the universe, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that does not in any way qualify the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as others, because they are all meant for the Lord. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there is no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by the particular names of the Lord as it is locally understood. They are all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. The third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. The fourth offense is to vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. The fifth offense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of one's mundane calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be non-different from him. The sixth offense is to interpret the holy name. The Lord is not imaginary, nor is his holy name. There are persons with poor fund of knowledge who think the Lord to be an imagination of the worshipper, and therefore think his holy name to be imaginary. Such a chanter of the name of the Lord cannot achieve the desired success in the matter of chanting the holy name. The seventh offense is to commit sins intentionally on the strength of the holy name. In the scripture it is said that one can liberate from the effect of all sinful actions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effect of sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord is greatest offender at the feet of the holy name. Such an offender cannot purify himself by any recommended method of purification. In other words, one may be sinful man before chanting the holy name of the Lord, but after taking shelter in the holy name of the Lord and becoming immune, one should strictly restrain oneself from committing sinful acts, with the hope that this method of chanting the holy name will give him protection. The eighth offense is to consider the holy name of the Lord and his chanting method to be equal to some material auspicious activity. There are various kinds of good works for material benefits, but the holy name and its chanting are not mere auspicious holy services. Undoubtedly, the holy name is the holy service, but he should never be utilized for such purposes. Since the holy name and the Lord are of one and the same identity, one should not try to bring holy name into the service of mankind. The idea is that the Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. He is no one's servant or order supplier. Similarly, since the holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord, one should not try to utilize the holy name for one's personal service. The ninth offense is to instruct those who are not interested in chanting the holy name of the Lord about the transcendental nature of the holy name. If such instruction is imparted to an unwilling audience, the act is considered to be an offense at the feet of the holy name. The 10th offense is to become uninterested in the holy name of the Lord, even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. The effect of chanting the holy name of the Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false egoism. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for the enjoyment of oneself only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine. But the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. Though the shloka is telling conclusion is just to chant holy name, the big purport Prabhupada has explained nicely. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatam Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nitam Cha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratuse Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Rundavaneshwari Rushabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Besha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So after a wonderful series of lectures of Janmashtami, we are continuing our Bhagavatam reading from 11th text of this chapter of second canto. So many place it is mentioned that how this 11th shloka is the conclusion of all that this set of 11 shlokas explained in the first chapter of second canto, where Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking. And because there are so many sages who are not having that faith on bhakti, after this shloka he also mentioned other process, though at the end he concludes with the bhakti as the ultimate goal and chanting as the ultimate means. And in purport, Prabhupada has mentioned that how Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning this solution for all three kinds of people, all four kinds of, we can say, even for the devotees. for the devotees, considering as the fourth one. And he also mentioned the offenses against holy name and the importance of staying away from that offenses. Prabhupada wanted to emphasize that by stating that which are those offenses and how we should take offense to the holy name very carefully. So we'll discuss about that, how four types of conception of happiness people have in this world, and then how devotee seeks happiness, which is different from the other three kinds of ways of getting happiness. And we'll also see that why so much emphasis on the staying away from the offenseful chanting is given. And also we'll see the meaning of the word Hare Namanu Kirtanam in this discussion. So generally people are programmed with wrong conception of happiness. What will make them happy? All of us might be remembering at the beginning of our device, we ask people, what is success of your life? What you want to become? So many people say that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And ultimately they come to the conclusion that they want to become happy. But what will make them happy, they don't know. There was one Harvard University research. There one person, he has given his understanding that we are so poor in predicting that what will make us happy. Means people generally predict that, okay, these things will make them happy, but that generally doesn't give them happiness. So their amount of happiness they will receive after that thing is also not predicted, and what thing will make them happy, that is also not predicted. Many of the things they think, okay, this particular thing will not give me happiness, and at the end they end up getting happiness from that thing only. So anticipation of happiness in the thing itself is wrong. Then why that anticipation is there in our heart? Because we are being bombarded by the media, by the people around, that this thing will make me happy. And that is why, to remove that conception, Bhagavatam tells again and again that how the materialistic propaganda, the level of material enjoyment, that cannot make us happy. So Prabhupada again and again has to emphasize this point that how much ever you would try by the material means, you cannot become happy. And we see in spirituality, even though it may be little more as a theory for us, but we see at least through the various devotees, scriptures, that how they are taking this process of bhakti and they are happy. Many of the Prabhupada disciples, they are like more than 50 years they are following the process. Recently, Jayapataka Maharaj celebrated his 50th sannyas year. So, like 50 years of service he had given to Prabhupada, and at the end, that famous video clip of 1 minute, you might have seen that devotees were asking him how you are feeling. He was telling that how his bodily he is completely uncomfortable because of the cancer and various diseases he is going through. But still he is being very joyful. And then Prabhupada also mentioning that this process is akuto bhayam, can free us from the fear. So one story Prabhupada used to tell, that how sadhu meets different kinds of people. First he meets the Rajaputra, a prince, and then he instructs the prince, na maro. Why? Because he is now received this body of being a prince because of his punya in last life. Though now he might be enjoying a lot, and but he has received because of his good punya. So now he can enjoy. And what will happen after this? If his enjoyment is sinful, then he will get sinful results, and by that he will not able to enjoy. So he should not die, because after that his life is miserable, and now he can enjoy. And then he meets one austere brahmachari. He said, na jio. He was not telling jio sim. He was telling, you need not to live long. Why? Because the current life is very austere. But after that, as a result of his austerity, he will get nice life. He will get spiritual life if he has done spiritual austerity. Then he meets butcher, and then he instructs him, na jivo, na maro. Because current life is also sinful, and what result of his sinful activity will give, that is also very fearful. So now his life, he may be apparently in human form, but he is as good as sinful life. And then he meets devotee. For the devotee he says, Jivova Marova. Whatever you do, because now your life you are utilizing in for Krishna, and later also it will be for Krishna. So once one devotee asked one question to Jayapataka Maharaj. So he was, he had asked that, how can I completely surrender unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master? So in its answer he says that everything in this world, they have expiry date. So we also have some date, but we don't know what is that date. Somebody may have 1 day, somebody may have 6 months, somebody may have 1 year. So how long we will live in this material world, that we don't know. So if we are living in this material world, so while living in this world, if we can utilize as much time we have for service of Krishna, that is our greatness. And when we live life in that way, even our next life will get opportunity to serve Krishna. So he quotes Kadam Kaman Swami Maharaj's statement that Krishna saved us many times, but sometimes I have to leave. That he was telling, Kadam Kaman Swami, in this life Krishna saved us many times through different means. But sometimes we have to leave from this world. So I am doing service now, and when I leave, I will still be serving. That is what we want to do. We want to do always as a servant of the Lord. So we can live, we always have a choice in this material world. And in sadhaka, this choice is more felt. Like Bhaktivedanta Thakur, many great acharyas, even if they do some wrong thing, or very 1%, 2%, then they feel, oh, I am doing something wrong, very much wrong. But people in this world, they might not be doing a 0.1% good, but still they feel that everything is going very well. Because they feel responsibility for that little choice they have received in this human form of life. And that is why in their Vaishnava songs, they write in such a way that we feel that they are lying. But they are not lying. They wanted to show by their sincere understanding of the minute free will we have received in this material world, in a human form of life, that if you use it nicely, we can do so much for the benefit of our own soul. So, yeah. From the section of Ajamila also, this conclusion of holy name, chanting of holy name is described. In one lecture, Radhanath Swami Maharaj is telling that exactly in the middle of the Bhagavatam, the story of Ajamila is given. Because the essence of Bhagavatam is given in terms of chanting of holy name. Also, we see in that shloka that how holy name is glorified at the beginning, at the middle and the end. Like in beginning here, holy name is glorified. In the middle, by the complete 3-4 chapters of Ajamila section, they are glorified. And even conclusion of Bhagavatam is also how the holy name is the essence of everything. So many people, after learning something in the life, in spiritual life, they see, okay, I will be in the spiritual world. So for that one special mantra they will chant. That is called a Siddha Pranali mantra. So many devotees sometimes in Vrindavan, after staying there for some days, they started asking, what is that Siddha Pranali mantra? And some discussion was going on among Prabhupada disciples. And then Prabhupada called him that you don't require anything. If at all you want to know, then Prabhupada told them the story about Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. That how there are some people, they came to Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj asking for Siddha Pranali mantra. And then Prabhupada, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj said, Harinam is sufficient. You don't need any Siddha Pranali. So real purpose of Harinam is to get the service to the lotus feet of the Lord, and that we should be seeking for. Here the word Anukirtanam also comes, and Prabhupada in word-to-word translation, he writes two meanings. That after someone and always. So after someone means we should know that how Harinam should be chanted. Like after someone means after Acharyas. That how they chanted, how they understood spirituality. Because what we follow, we have to see how much it is in line. Not only the method, but also, not only the means, but also the method has to be known. Once Giriraj Swami Maharaj, he was meeting various people in Bombay, and he came across with one person. He apparently was very pious, and he was having one small dabbi. And Maharaj asked that, okay, you keep this, I see you this every time with you. What is in it? So he was telling, this is a silver dabbi, and he was having tulsi leaves. Why? Because whatever he do, whenever he go anywhere, whenever he eat, before that he put tulsi and offer to the Lord. Maharaj felt, oh, it's so nice. And then he told, even if I take tea, I put tulsi leaves and then take it. So how, even if we know the means, how to follow that should be known. One family they came 2 years back, and they were telling that, oh, we have such a nice habit that even if, and we have a Laddu Gopal at our home, and even if we have to eat meat, we will first offer to the Laddu Gopal, like that they were telling. So people don't know how to follow. So even if we come to know the means, we should know how to follow those means. So people try different ways. Prabhupada is giving emphasis on the different 4 types of people. They want to become successful in life. That then first he tells about the fruity workers. They want to become happy by getting different means. In 11th canto also, Sukadeva Goswami again explains that how karmis, to become a karmi, there is some qualification. What is that qualification? Only to have material desire, that's all. At such it is not a qualification that anybody can be karmis. But after trying to enjoy that way, even if we have anything, we have 100 things, we ask for 101 thing. And there are various examples of Yayati Maharaj explaining that how thousands of years he tried to enjoy, but he was not happy. There is a section of Hiranyakashipu, which Hiranyakashipu was having everything, but just anger of small 5-year-old son that devastated his life. Then there are Gyanis. Gyanis, they want to merge. They want to merge in Brahman, and they feel that is the happiness. In the beginning of the Chaitanya Chaitamrut, how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj explained that how there are happiness in the material world, but that is very temporary. And then there is thousandfold happiness by getting peace. But that is also not sufficient. And then he explained that highest happiness is in service to the Lord. So Gyanis wanted to attain the happiness by merging into the Brahman, but that is also not the short way of getting happiness. And also yogis try to become happy. They have various means, various siddhis they want to have. Initially they give up material things, want to have some siddhis, and after getting siddhis, sometimes desire comes, I can use for some material benefit, and then they come down again. So nice story comes in Journey Home book, where Maharaj explained that he was going in different places, and he was meeting many siddhis, people who are getting some abilities. So one place he was talking with some friends he came across with, and while talking with some yatris and all, one yogi came, and he was almost in his late 30s, and he was asking for charity. And these people, they felt, oh, people comes to just waste our time, and they just shut off. So these people, this yogi, he became kind of angry. And there was one chair kept, and above chair, like initially used to have bulb hanging from the ceilings. So that bulb was hanging. He climbed up on the chair and he took out that bulb, electric bulb, took it in his hand and it practically crushed it. And opened his hand. There was no sign of blood or any harm. There was. And everybody was mesmerized. Actually, you want to show them that you are thinking myself as only beggar. I am not like that. I am having some abilities also. And then the people, mesmerized people, they asked him to show some more magic. And nearby there was some construction going on. And he took out one kind of a bar. And he hold that one end of the bar on wall, and another hand he kind of put one cloth, and about the cloth, about his eyes, he put another end. And by his strength of his eyes, you can say, he pushed that one end toward the wall and kind of made a U shape with that iron bar and just throwed it. And then he opened his eyes, like removed the cloth. He was having very, very thin cloth he had. And then he showed, it was just red, but it was undamaged. And all pilgrimage, then they gave nice money to him. So he got his purpose fulfilled. And then some people was asking him, okay, how you learned this? We also want to know. Then he was telling, I have my guru. He stays in Himalayas caves. And I was also staying with him. I was staying with him for 20 years. And I learned all these siddhis. But thoda sa chupke se, once in a while, I went and I was trying to use this siddhi for getting money. And then my guru saw it, and then he said that this is not for some monetary gain or some prestige. And he exiled this disciple from his ashram. And now I am coming here, after coming here, little away from that caves and all. I have to get married, but I don't know any means. So this is the way I know, so that I am using it for earning money, like that he was telling. So he was also understanding that, oh, these things are of not use. His guru also told that simple devotion to the Lord is so meaningful. And then he concluded, he told that other pilgrimage, that my conclusion of life is, don't go behind all these magical feats. Okay, you have some skills, ability, you can utilize to get the simple devotional service to the Lord. Otherwise, these things are just a distraction. So devotee doesn't ask for all these things. He is not in favor of getting all these things. He just wants devotion to the Lord. In Chitraketu section, it is the nice shloka comes that Narayana parasarve na kutasyatam bibbati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshina. He is not seeking anything in this material world, and he don't have fear also. Like next section, things comes about that. He is akuto bhayam. He is not having fear. So why the fear comes? Because even other three fellows, they wanted to lose that enjoyment in this material world. So leaving enjoyment is one fear. Like devotee also, he takes up bhakti, he start chanting holy name. He has fear that, oh, I will lose this enjoyment. Many people, they come to the ISKCON, but when they see, oh, I will lose my material enjoyment, though that is not the fact. But because of that fear, they leave bhakti. Because the number of different menus we have seen in ISKCON, we might not have seen anywhere. Practically, when people come, they in many of the part of the villages, they know only halwa as one thing which we eat for the festivals or like that. And Prabhupada introduced so many different varieties. Prabhupada was telling at one place, even with the help of groundnut and jaggery, we can make 300 items. So why people are going behind non-veg and all? Like that Prabhupada was telling. So I want to read one section. So there is nice conversation in Jaiva Dharma about Namaparad, that why we should avoid offenses to the holy name, because for that Prabhupada has mentioned all the offenses in this purport and also said that how we must avoid the offenses. So Jaiva Dharma is a book written by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, right? Yeah. And in that there is a nice conversation between Raghunath Das Babaji and Vijaya. So Raghunath Das Babaji says, if the result of the Payu Mahapapa are multiplied 1,000,000 times, still they do not match the effect of Namaparad. This should give you an indication of the bad result born from Namaparad. So devotee has to be very careful about Namaparad. So we see so much glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's magnificent nature that this holy name is so priceless, and that is to give that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. So if somebody gives very nice, precious things to you, then what happens? He also expects that you should handle it carefully. They are all handled with careful items. But if you are not taking care of that thing, then the person who has given that gift, he also feels bad. So similarly, holy name is very priceless thing. That is being given by the Lord to those who are not deserving at all. So if after giving priceless thing, person expects so much and we are not taking care of it, then that person feels very bad. So similarly, Harinam, Prabhu, he feels very bad, and that is why the offense to the holy name has to be avoided. So, but he is telling, okay, but initially we tell people, okay, somehow you chant one round, chant while walking also you can chant, while talking also you can chant. Sometimes in Marathi also they say, no, Nama Gheta Uta Uti. You just chant whenever possible. So then the question comes, even if aparadh happens by chanting the holy name, there should be some good benefit. So Vijaya in its reply says, Maharaj, the result of Namaparad are certainly as terrible as you describe. So much bad effect of Namaparad is given. Yet for the Namaparadi, are there no good result at all from uttering the syllables of Harinam? Are kuch to benefit hona chahiye na? Naam, even though it is offenseful, there is a chanting of holy name. Then he says, Harinam rewards the Namaparadi by fulfilling his material desires, which initially had motivated him to chant. However, he never blessed with prem. So he will give you whatever you want, just like we say, na? Harinam is as potent as Lord. So it can give you whatever you want. So what he will give? He will give the material benefit because he is coming for material benefit. However, he will never give the prem. Furthermore, along with his fulfilled desires, he also has to suffer the consequence of Namaparad. Because his chanting was instigated by material duplicity. Nevertheless, occasionally his chanting is free from mundane cunning and caprice. In these moments, his chanting may be evaluated as sukruti. So it is up to us, while chanting the holy name, how much benefit we want. How? Because it can be just a sukruti or it can give you prem eventually. So when the sukruti matures and accumulates to the substantial amount, he is rewarded with the association of the Vaishnava, who is attached to the Shuddha Harinam. So we can understand that association of the great devotees who have achieved Shuddha Nam, this is so rare. So then further he says, under this good influence, the Namaparadi learns to chant properly and overcomes his Namaparad. This methodology has also helped steadfast monist and emancipationist to gradually attain the platform of Shuddha Bhakti. If the devotee just once utters Harinam purely, or if one Shuddha Nam enters the, or if just one Shuddha Nam, it enters the path of the devotee's mind or ear, then that one Shuddha Nam will certainly deliver the devotee from material bondage. whether vibrated properly or improperly, with correct or incorrect grammar, vibrated in separate parts or properly conjoined. So chanting may have some defects like grammatical mistake or some pronunciation mistake, but Shuddhanam can give you, can award you the prem if chanted properly. O Brahmana, the potency of Shuddha Harinam is certainly great. However, if one uses the vibration of Harinam to achieve health, wealth, son, and opulent residence, or chant under greed for labh, pratishta, puja, adoration, position, in other words, if one utters the Harinam with offenses, such chanting will not produce the eternal transcendental result very soon. Therefore, one should diligently avoid offenses in chanting Sri Harinam. So that he quotes from Padma Puran, from some 48 chapters. So that is why we have this particular method of chanting, hearing chanting from the particular sources. Even in case of prostitute, we see in Chaitanya Chaitamrut, when she heard from Haridas Thakur, she got delivered. So chanting from the authoritative sources that Sukadeva Goswami is emphasizing and Prabhupada is mentioning here. So even though chanting of the holy name is the highest thing, the hearing from holy name, hearing about holy name or hearing about the devotee of the Lord, that is also beneficial, and that is why Sukadeva Goswami, he mentions, he gives 7 days Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami, when they sit, he mentioned that how Sukadeva Goswami has given 7 days class to the Parikshit Maharaj. And one more narration I want to read about, So here it is mentioned that Hare Namanu Kirtanam, chanting of the holy name as the conclusion of everything. Then how other yugas, they had other means. So it is mentioned in one Satvada Tantra, in conversation between Narad Muni and Lord Shiva, that how chanting of holy name is conclusion in Kali Yuga and was conclusion in the previous ages also. But the means was different. So the shloka comes, Krutva dishva api viprendra hari namanu kirtanam tadapi sadyam tad bhuya kalau udayatam gata. O best among the Brahmins, in the previous ages, beginning with Satya, the constant kirtan of Harinam was the goal to be attained by the austerities and other practices. It was the goal before. It was a mere goal before, because means might be different. However, the ages of Kali, such constant chanting is both the means and the goal. The verse says that in the previous ages, chanting of the Harinam was the goal to be attained by the respective process of this yoga ages. Thus in Satya Yuga, goal of all austerities was to attain the stages of constant kirtan of Harinam. That is why we see in several places in Bhagavatam also, other places also, other yugas also, devotees were chanting the holy name. The chanting of holy name was there. In one of the purports also it is mentioned that they were not so much enamored by the chanting of holy name, because they wanted to have something difficult, Itna easily de diya to how then they will take it. So in other yugas also chanting of holy name was there. We see Dhruva Maharaj chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So and several places we see. So chanting of holy name was there, but the means was not the chanting of holy name, but goal was what? Chanting the holy name. So we know that how the chanting is performed in 3 stages: Namaparad, Namabhas and Shuddhanam. And we have to strive to chant at least Namabhas in non-offensive way. We have to try to avoid the offenses, and that is why with so much effort Prabhupada has actually given chanting of holy name. Many times Prabhupada used to tell that just chanting of holy name is sufficient. So there are several instances when there is in Vrindavan, some festival was going on, Prabhupada told that you keep on chanting the holy name. Even though there are other mantras to be performed, Prabhupada says, keep, even in a small volume, you keep on chanting the holy name. Various places devotees were not able to chant the mantras. So Prabhupada said, okay, nothing can happen, nothing more, you just chant the holy name. So chanting of holy name is emphasis every time. So otherwise people are dragged by the fear of this material world. And that also Prabhupada saying that akuto bhayam, if you want to get rid of the fear of this material world, we have to chant the holy name. People try to distract themselves from other fears they have. What that ultimate fear ends up in fear of the death. So they wanted to take out different means. How they can neglect this fear of death. They have different ways like watching movies or intoxications. They just wanted to keep away from this discussion. Whenever there's discussion about the death or a real thing of this material world, then people just say, oh, why you are speaking so negatively. So that is not that is a pessimism, that is actual real positive thinking, that what positivity we have. Jayadvaita Maharaj was telling at one place that people generally stand by and watch their friends dying till the time one day they themselves die and others watch them dying. So we have to take the chanting of holy name seriously, and that can be reinforced by hearing about the personalities who took the chanting seriously, and by reading about Bhagavatam, how devotees they took shelter in terms of holy name. So that's what we see in this verse, that how it concludes. In one sense, this verse is actually conclusion of Bhagavatam. But again, Sukadeva Goswami, in order to sympathize with other devotees, other yogis who are sitting in the assemblies, they have given other means in rest of the Bhagavatam, and still at the end he concludes with chanting of the holy name. So thank you for your patient hearing. Please forgive me for if I made some mistake in presenting the parampara. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.